started streaming. A reminder that the council meetings are web streamed, so you will be receiving it live, and you can go on the town's website and watch council meetings as well. So welcome everyone, and prior to the open session, council met for a brief closed session. It was moved by Councillor Burden and seconded by Councillor Keith that pursuant to section 239(2) and 3 of the Municipal Act, SO 2001 C25 is amended. Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound moves to a meeting closed to the public in order to address matters pertaining to C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land for municipal or local board purpose, CP Station and Big Sound Marina. That was carried. The meeting was held. I did declare a conflict on item 642 as my wife works for the Festival of the Sound and I left the council chambers at that particular time. Okay. Any addition or prioritization of the agenda? Councillor Backman?
Yes, I'd like to make an addition with some direction to staff to bring back a letter in a later meeting to invite the municipalities of West Parry Sound to participate in our upcoming recreation plan.
Okay. All right. Sure. Councilor McCann seconds it. Any discussion on that? So I guess I have a question. So we're going to be doing our recreational master plan, and we're going to be inviting the other municipalities to comment or have input on it. Is that the idea?
I believe based on the approval of our plan, it was based on an area recreation plan. Is that correct?
Through the chair. During the budget deliberations, an amount was put into the town's budget for recreation master plan. The last recreation master plan did involve financial contributions as well as input, obviously, from the area municipalities. We're embarking on an update of that master plan, and the offer is being suggested that the offer be out there to involve the area municipalities. I think the expectation is if we're dealing with a larger catchment area and services to provide to other communities or include other communities in the consideration of what we're going to build, that they would contribute financially to that plan. And then they get a say in the plan, and we're planning in a larger context. That's the basis on which the last recreation master plan was developed.
All right, good one. Council, all in favor of that? Okay, very good. Any other additions or prioritization of the agenda? Seeing none, mover and seconder for the agenda. Councillor McCann, Councillor Backman. The council agenda for July 2nd, 2019 be approved as amended. All in favor? And that's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? No? Seeing none? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to take a few minutes to hold a public meeting to hear any interested persons with regard to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment under section 34 of the Planning Act. May I have a mover and second to adjourn the regular meeting? Councillor McCann, Councillor Horn. That we do now adjourn the regular meeting and declare the public meeting open. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Ms. Johnson, could you explain how the public was notified of 1929330 Ontario Limited 9 Great North Road?
Your Worship, notice was given by prepaid first-class mail to the required prescribed agencies and property owners within 120 meters, posted on the property, and was placed on the town's website.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Elgee, could you explain the purpose of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment?
Certainly. The applicant has requested to amend the C3 zone to reduce the amount of parking spaces they'll require for a proposed patio due to a patio they wish to build, they'll need an additional 25 spaces, and they do not have space on the property to do so. Property is located at 9 Great North Road and is known as Trestle Brewing Company.
Good, thank you. So at this time, does anyone wish to speak in favor of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment? If so, please come forward and identify yourself by name and address. Nope. Okay. Then does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment? If so, please come forward and identify yourself by name and your address. Oh, you go to the table, please, and then click the button, purple button on the microphone. Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Vivian Ivy. I live at 24 Great North Road, which is directly opposite the Trestle Brewing Company. I oppose this motion as there is not currently enough parking for what is currently there, and I question whether in future there will be enough parking for the company as well as the public parking for the walking trail.
Okay. All right. Okay. We don't ask questions or anything at the public meeting. It's just a case you come forward, state your concerns, and then we're good. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Algie, have there been any letters received as a result of this notice?
There has been one letter in support. The owner of 22 Great North Road, Diane Waters, has noted that Trestle Brewing Company has been a huge asset to the town and appreciates their community outreach and fundraising events. She feels the addition of a larger patio will provide more opportunity for locals and tourists to enjoy Seguin River and the historic Trestle Bridge, and it'll be a benefit to the town.
Thank you. So, this time the public should contact staff or check the town's website to see when the amendment will come back for a decision. Council at its discretion may approve the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. If so, it must either circulate notice of passing of the bylaw or give notice in the local press. Objections to the passing of the bylaw will be received by the clerk within 20 days from the date of such notice is given, which objections will be forwarded to the local planning appeal tribunal. If an appeal is submitted and the appellant has not provided council with an oral or written submission before the passing of the bylaw, the local planning appeal tribunal may choose to dismiss the appeal. Thank you, and may I have a mover and seconder to go back to the regular meeting? Councillor Burden and Councillor Horn. We do now declare the public meeting closed. Thank you. All right. Mover and seconder for the minutes. Councillor McCann, Councillor Bachman. That the minutes of the regular council meeting held June 18th, 2019 be approved as circulated. Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Questions of staff? Councillor Keith and then Councillor McCann.
Thank you. I have two questions of Mr. Brown, please. The first one is about River Street, and what's the status there now of River Street? And the second one is, how is the project going in reference to Warwick Street and where we are there, and also in respect to the line, the markings, you know, for people walking? I've had some concerns about that.
Through your worship, to answer the first question, River Street's basically done. It's been resurfaced with line painting all the way through. We're quite happy with the work that's been done. We're going to be monitoring it after significant rainstorms because that's where the rubber hits the road, if I can use that expression, for that, because we want to make sure that there is sufficient drainage continuing there. With regards to Warwick Street, the contractor is doing a very good job. They're working extremely hard. They're on schedule. There is more significant work that needs to be done, but they are basically up to the Coast Guard entrance, and they're hoping to move past that probably within the next 3 weeks. So you'll see some more work being done. They're having the paving company follow behind them, so hopefully they'll be having some of the Wabi Street with a single surface done sometime in late August. With regards to the other question regarding are you speaking with regards to the top of the hill on Avenue Road? Yes. I've spoken to the engineer. I also have seen the drawings, reviewed the drawings. I'll be bringing back a report for information to council at the next council meeting, as well as the information to council that they requested regarding the pedestrian crossing at Isabella and William Street. But I feel that the plan for Wabi Street that they're doing, I think, is a solid one. I will give you a high level view of it. Where it is now, it's going to be pulled down the road towards the intersection. So it's better to have a crossing next or very close to an intersection. So then all parties, all vehicles will be able to see the crossing. That's where the plan's going to be with significant line painting. But I will bring that to council next time.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McCann?
Thank you. I have two questions for Mr. Brown as well. I promised to bring these up tonight. I know that there are a lot of streets in town that need work, and I received a compliment on the work done on River Street. Is there anything planned for Hillcrest in the near future as far as repaving, resurfacing? I understand there's a few potholes that are a bit of an interesting trick to maneuver around. So that's my first question.
Through your worship, we've exhausted our asphalt paving for 2019 with the River Street work, as well as we're paving Tuthope Street down to and including the corner in front of Serenity Place, because that's in desperate need of redoing. Hillcrest is on the list, as well as many other streets. We do have an opportunity to take advantage of some federal gas tax funding that was just announced that we might be able to do. Having said that, if council remembers, we've also hired a company to do a complete roads assessment review. And once that's done, then we'll have a better handle on the priority of roads that need to be done.
Actually, I did have a third question, but my second one is with regards to Gibson Street. One of our taxpayers had mentioned that and wanted to know what time should people be putting their garbage out in the morning? Is there an actual bylaw that states that the garbage shouldn't be put out before that? Because apparently there's a real mess on Gibson Street that either the animals got into it or somebody decided it was a good idea to drag some garbage up and down the street. But just wondered maybe if it was prudent of us to remind people that it'd be a good idea now that summer is here to refrain from putting your garbage out too early at night.
Through your worship, we don't recommend you put the garbage out in the evening. You put it out by 7 o'clock the next morning. And I think that's part of the problem, is that some residents choose to put their garbage out in the evening, and then it's subject to vandalism or animals or both. So it is identified in the calendar, the waste management calendar that we hand out every year, that the garbage has to be out before 7 o'clock every morning.
And my third question has to do with the transfer station. In my work with Belvedere Heights and picking up our returns, the bottles and cans and such, I noticed that the blue bins, some people feel that they're a means for dumping garbage and all kinds of house furniture. I've seen all kinds of things in the blue boxes, or not the blue boxes, but the blue bins. And I suspect that costs the town to have that pulled away. And I know that the staff up there are busy and they do a great job. Should we be reminding the public what shouldn't be going into these big blue boxes? I mean, I've seen lawn furniture in some of these blue bins.
Through your worship, as an example, the lawn furniture, somebody might have thought, well, that's made out of plastic, so it'll be recycled. That's not the case.
This was wood.
Okay, so it is always a work in progress that we have to remind the ratepayers of what you can and cannot recycle. It's the same as a blue box at your house. Some people think that you can recycle certain things when actually you can't. So again, that's why we hand out those calendars on an annual basis. Is it prudent for the town to remind the public? Absolutely, and we can put that on our website for a reminder of what can and cannot be recycled. It's also identified on those big bins. It's actually written in black and white what you can and cannot put in those bins. But as you say, there will be some people who choose to ignore the signs.
I think we're preaching to the choir most of the time, but thank you very much for that.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay. Correspondence, Ms. Johnson.
We have 4 items of correspondence. The first is from the Bayside Family Church. They outline concerns with municipal services, specifically sewer lines installed along Parry Sound Drive, which they've concluded were installed incorrectly, and they're causing flooding and excessive sewage tank pump outs at their property at 4 Parry Sound Drive. So this letter has been referred to the Director of Public Works for investigation and follow-up. The second letter is from Lori and Doug Kin. It's a letter of objection to the Greystone project vis-a-vis building height, as it will block view from their location. That has been referred to the Manager of Building and Planning, and it is the subject of a public meeting coming up in the next, at the next meeting, next council meeting, I believe. The third item is from Lynn Martin, expressing concerns with and suggestions for the Stocky Centre recycling and waste practices. That's been referred to the Programming and Events Manager at the Stocky Centre for follow-up. The fourth item is from Jeremy Cross, Executive Director of the National Coaches Association of Ontario, with a request for designation of National Coaches Week, September 21st to 29th, and that is covered by a resolution on the consent agenda for this evening.
Okay, all right. Councilor Horn.
Thank you. Just in regards to item 4.2, I think it should read Lori and Doug Kerr.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we now come to the deputations and presentations portion of tonight's meeting, and deputations are held to a maximum of 10 minutes each, including questions of clarification from council, and deputations are also subject to the same rules of conduct as members of council, and that no one shall speak disrespectfully, use offensive words or insulting expressions against any member of council, staff, or another member of the public, and please speak clearly and approximately 1 foot directly in front of the microphone. So, our deputation that we have listed tonight is Rita Orr, CEO of the Parry Sound Public Library, and it's a library commercial. Okay, welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hartley is just going to set it up. We have a new outreach program starting this summer for all of the partnerships that we have, and that's Parry Sound, Archipelago, Carling, and McDougall. So we wanted to do something different, and this year we're starting with Cottage Dockside Reads, and we're actually holding it in Carling, in the new recreation center, and we're bringing in 5 authors. So we're here tonight to say also thank you for your support and to just show you this quick commercial about 5 authors that are coming starting next Thursday, July 11th, and every Thursday after that. And we're hoping that that will spread the word around what a great district we live in, and also to show off Parry Sound. So we did a lot of driving and we filmed a lot. And it's a 2-minute commercial, so we're hoping that it might go a little bit further. And we'll just go with that. So we're just going to show this to you, and it'll explain everything.
Okay.
There's no sound? Oh, no. There's no sound. Okay. there another button for us to push for sound?
No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like here it's not. And it's not there. Nope, that's not really that.
Well, then we're going to just show it and we'll talk. How about we just show it and we'll just, maybe you can help me talk through it.
All right, so we've got a few authors. They're all local, and they'll be coming to the Carling Community Recreation Center. So our first one is Joseph Boyden, and he's going to be coming first, and he's going to be on July the 11th. So we've got Joseph Boyden, we've got Jane Shelley and Stephen Duff, we've got Wabgashig Rice coming. Who else do we have? Well, actually, we do have a. It'll scroll through them.
Well, there's a lovely music background on this too.
I really wish you could hear
We're
it.
really promoting the area to
Is
just
one of you
show.
going to hum the music while you know, the talks? No?
It is on our website too, and it's just promoting the area.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of Toronto people coming up, and they don't realize what we have up here too. And we're pushing the area more and more further south for people to come up. And having this dockside reads is like the tickets are selling. So we're just going to try something new, and hopefully it'll be an annual event. We'll bring 5 new authors every year in, and different parts. We'll have it different parts of the community.
And tickets are $15 each, so you can purchase them at the library, or you can purchase them at the Carling Community Recreation Center.
And that includes hors d'oeuvres and a treat.
So it's going on throughout the whole summer, so it should be pretty exciting.
So for a thank you, we have tickets for each one of you. So you can take the tickets, give it away to someone else. You can exchange the tickets to an author that you want to see. But we want to say just a big thank you to all the counselors in the area for supporting us. So hopefully you can see and hear this another time on the website.
On YouTube, on the website, Facebook, Instagram, it's all over.
Well, we should be able to put it on the town's website as well, I would think, so.
Yeah, and we'll send you
That would be,
the link again.
that would be good. Thank you. Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay. Councillor McCann has a question.
Yes, thank you, Rita. What is, I know I should know this. What is the website URL for the library?
Parry Sound Library.
Just Parry Sound
Yeah,
Library
it pops up, whatever you put in.
.com?
.com, yeah,
Okay.
that's right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are also, just want to quickly mention that this is a mini fundraiser for the library. And we're also having our large second annual yard sale this Saturday. So the library is packed with things, and talking about recycling, we are recycling a lot of items, so hopefully this will be going on for a few years, and it helps the dump, we'll just say. And anyways, we're trying our best to make that work.
Very good.
And a follow-up to that, can people still make donations to it?
Definitely,
And
definitely, yes.
where do they go and who do
Right
they
at
talk
the
to?
back door of the ramp side to drop off items. And, and we'll go out and help them.
The back door.
The back door, the ramp door.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Any other questions? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there are a few minutes left. Is there anyone else that wanted to make a deputation tonight? Nope. Okay. On with the agenda. Who are we starting with tonight for reports? Oh, Council McCann, I guess.
I think I was first the last time.
Were you?
I went first
Oh,
again.
wow.
Shall I defer to Vanessa?
Nope. Go for it.
Okay, all right, okay. So, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, and staff, and people watching at home, or those here in the gallery, which is a pretty light night tonight. A couple of things to report on. On Thursday, June 20th, my work took me on board the Cambrian boat, and I rode with members of the Parry Sound Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary who were headed way out past Red Rock for the purpose of participating in some rescue exercises. The object of the day was to rescue 2 individuals, each with life preservers on, who would have been floating in the water. And the exercise involved a military plane flying over the area several times to airdrop smoke bombs to determine wind direction, also a life raft and pump. In this particular exercise, it was more important to have information on the location of the men overboard and to be in contact with the crew in the air. The Cambrian could have been far off, but we were in the area to observe, to participate in, and retrieve the rescue equipment. I mention this occasion because I want to highlight the work of the members of the local Parry Sound Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary. They do some great stuff. They are volunteers, and the group is vital in many ways that most people would not even be aware. The auxiliary is most definitely an asset to our people and the visitors of the area. So on Sunday, June 23rd, St. Peter the Apostle Catholic Church celebrated its 150th anniversary. A special mass was held with Bishop Daniel Mayhem officiating. There was even a confirmation held. The mass was followed by speeches. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for being on hand to offer some words and a presentation to St. Peter's. As well, there was a bench dedication at Mission Park. Mission Park is the previous location of St. Peter's Church, and then there was a great barbecue afterwards. Monday evening, June 24th, I attended the public meeting regarding the state of education in Parry Sound, both now and what may be expected in the coming months and years. It was held in the gymnasium at the Hub. It was titled Facts and Fears, Protecting Educational Opportunities. That was the theme, and the meeting was organized by community members. Retired Principal Ron Chase was the moderator, and they talked about provincial cutbacks, class sizes, the impact that these would have. These were all discussed, and certainly the issue of the French school moving into Canada or college was a concern to some people who spoke about it. So congratulations to everyone who attended that meeting. And my next item was a board meeting Wednesday morning, June 26th, Belvedere Heights Board of Management meeting. We learned on May 28th that effective the 1st of July, the province will put into effect July 1st this year an inflationary increase of 2.3%, which will be applied to basic and preferred accommodation in long-term care homes. In fact, there were various announcements of funding changes announced by the province. Some of these include global level of care funding increases, physiotherapy funding program, and RN funding fixed top-ups for homes with more than 64 beds. And financial statements were reviewed and accepted. Then on Thursday evening, June 27th, I attended the Parry Sound Seguin Boundary Adjustment Committee meeting. This was the meeting, our first meeting together as representatives for the town of Parry Sound. Our CEO, Clayton Harris, discussed some of the history of the initiative and established goals and objectives. Essentially, our goals are to allow and facilitate urban development in the south of the town of Parry Sound, recognizing the connection that certain lands to the existing urban physical structure of the town, and to facilitate and encourage economic development and enhance employment opportunities in the district of Parry Sound. So I'm excited and encouraged over the mutual cooperation that our townships are putting head to make this happen. That same night, there was a meeting of the board for the West Parry Sound District Museum. I wasn't there, but our chair, Jim Marshall, tells me that it was business as usual. The women's fashions history display opened up last night. It was well attended, and it's on for a few weeks. And finally, my wife and I strolled down to the waterfront to observe the events yesterday, July 1st, and celebrating Canada Day. Thank you to staff and organizers for the hard work put into the organizing of this most successful and attractive annual event. And a belated happy Canada Day to all, and hope that you have a good, safe summer. And that's my report.
Councillor Backman.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't have any meetings to attend, so that allowed me to get out and enjoy some of the festivities throughout our community. On June 21st, I attended the Whispering River Music of Solstice event at the Stocky Center, including a Rotary barbecue. It was a project of the Adrenalina Chamber Music Society Solstice Celebration. The celebration of Nevi by Marilyn Capriel included sailboat making by Debbie McGibbon, Music Magic Madness by Brenda Mueller and Zach Lauch on the banners of the Bay Art Sail Canoe Ballet, and Sail Parry Sound White Squall participated and sponsored the first annual Bert Weir Memorial Music Commission. I'd just like to say it was a great event. It showed what funding through the Trillium could bring to our community. I understand this was a week-long event, and I'd just like to say that it was great to see, to have partners such as the businesses to participate in this event, as well as a shout out to Brenda Mueller and the entire team that made this event very active, and it was great to see so many people participating. I also attended on July 6th the inaugural Waterfront Farmers Market. It is located at the town's waterfront lot at 11 Bay Street. The market runs from Saturday mornings 9 until 2 until the end of August. This is again another great partnership and a great addition to our waterfront, especially on the weekends, as we do have many people participating and traveling up to Parry Sound. It seemed like there was approximately nearly 20 vendors and many people participating. I encourage everyone to try and get out to this event on Saturday mornings, as well as the other markets in Market Square on Tuesdays. And again, I participated in the Canada Day events. I just want to give a huge congratulations to the town staff for all their efforts and hard work. I think the addition to having the youth activities at Market Square was a very good decision. I participated in last year's event, and it was a very hot summer day in the Stockey Center parking lot, and to be able to go to this event and see everyone utilizing the green space in the community was wonderful. So kudos to everyone involved, and that's my report.
Thank you. Councillor Horn?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On Monday, June 24th, I attended the planning board meeting. There was 4 consent applications for the township of McDougall, and there was 2 consent applications passed for the municipality of Whitestone. June 27th, Councillor McCann already spoke about the committee meeting regarding the boundary discussions with town of Parry Sound and Seguin. And once again, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to all the town staff, the operations department, the recreation staff, the Stockey Center, Bobby Orr Hall of Fame staff that made Canada Day just a wonderful celebration. Fireworks last night were just spectacular, and it was great to see the number of people that were down at the town docks. And hopefully this weather continues and we can have our summer now. So thank you very much. That's my report.
Thank you. Councillor Keith?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors, staff, and public. I'll be brief. Councillor Horn has already mentioned my attendance at the planning board, so that's already been covered. I was glad to see again another ship, Pearl Mist, in again. That's really, I got the hiccups. It's supposed to mean that somebody's talking about you when you get the hiccups. So I don't know about that. But in any event, Pearl Mist was here most recently again, and that's really great to see because we have people coming into our community, and we all know it's really good marketing. We want them to enjoy themselves here and come on back, and please spend your money and say good things about Parry Sound. I should say I also checked in the waterfront market. That was really great to see. It's another great idea. And last thing is, please be aware school is out. I think we know that, but that means watching all the little kiddies and where they are. So please pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Burden?
I had no meetings between the last 2 council meetings, so nothing to report. The only thing I'd like to say is congratulations to the Downtown Business Association for the new parkettes that have been installed on the base of the James Street parking lot. I think they look great. And that's my report.
Okay. Thank you. Council, staff, and public, June 20 and 21st were AMO Executive Board meetings, and I was away at those. June 23rd, as was mentioned, I attended the 150th anniversary celebration at St. Peter's Catholic Church. With certainly very modest beginnings on the new site, on the old site, we now call Mission Park, to today's current location, 150 years of ministry in our community, is certainly to be commended. Out of this ministry also grew St. Joseph's Hospital, which served our community for many years, and St. Peter's School, which currently provides quality education for our local youth. The Knights of Columbus and the Catholic Women's Group have also provided local support and contribute to many local charities and organizations, not just in our community, but the surrounding area. And I was also told to say thank you to our park staff for putting up the memorial bench at Mission Park so quickly and professionally. So they were very, very pleased that that went up as quick as it did. I'd also like to thank Brad Wheeler and other town staff and the many volunteers, vendors, and supporters for a great Canada Day. From Market Square Park to the waterfront, there was lots to do, and from early morning to the evening with the Festival of the Sounds, Canada Day cruise, and the fireworks, it was a great day. Many happy people with smiles on their faces enjoying either a band or kids playing in the park. It was all good, and our staff certainly did a very good job. So thank you. And thank goodness the weather held for a really nice day. So it was good. I'd also like to announce that the town is continuing with its $500 Civic Scholarship, which was first awarded in 2017. Students who have a Town of Parry Sound home address and who have completed their first year of university or college and are confirmed to attend a second year are eligible to apply. More information will be on the town's website tomorrow morning by noon, including an application form. Deadline for submission is Friday, August the 2nd, and the successful candidate will be announced at the August 13th council meeting. So get your submissions in, and so someone might be able to help get a little extra help with their education. That's my report. So next is item 8.1. Moved by Councillor Burden and seconded by Councillor Horn that the week of September 21st to the 29th be declared as National Coaches Week in the town of Parry Sound. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Yep. Do you want me to read this first? Okay. So, yeah, Caitlin, could you come up for a sec, please? So while attending the CASH conference, which is the Canadian Association for Sport Heritage, Caitlin was singled out and asked if she would like to join the executive board for CASH as the Vice President of Communications. She accepted the position with enthusiasm, we understand. The VP of Communications is responsible for the publication of the newsletter communique, updating the CASH website and social media. The executives meet about once a month by phone, and an AGM is held once a year via conference call. This is a very exciting opportunity for Caitlin and for the Hall of Fame, as it will provide more exposure for the Hall of Fame, as well as provide professional development for Caitlin as she looks to expand her role in the sports heritage community. As with being more directly involved with the CASH organization, the Bobby Orr Hall of Fame will be in a great position to host the next conference in 2021. So congratulations and thank you for doing that. I've always believed that the more we get involved with, the more opportunity that this community has for exposure and for good things to come its way. So thank you for doing that. Is there anything that you wanted to say?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to thank council for approving my attendance at the conference. It's really important to me personally, and I think all town staff, to make sure that we can get out there, get experience in professional development, and also promote the town of Parry Sound and the great things we have to offer here.
Good. Thank you. So I have some direction here, and I need a mover and seconder for that, Councillor McCann and Councillor Horn. That the announcement of Bobby Orr Hall of Fame curator Caitlin Dyer's appointment as VP Communications to the Canadian Association for Sports Heritage be received. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Oh. Okay. I need a mover and seconder for the next direction. Councillor Keith and Councillor Bachman. That the report be received for information purposes. And Ms. Phillips, would you like to describe what the report does so that the public knows about this?
Sure, thank you. What the 2019 budget analysis in relation to the 4% challenge report shows is that only 40% of the operating expenses at the town are within the town's span of control. So 4% on the entire operating expenditures at the town is $1.4 million. To achieve these 4% savings, the town would actually be required to cut about 10% of the expenditures that are within the town's span of control. So that's what this really shows. 38% of the operating expenditures, around 12 million, are paid out for external levies and to external boards for provincially mandated services. And if there's any questions, I could answer those.
Councillor Horn.
Thank you. This exercise was directed by the Ford government in terms of municipal findings of any savings, and as you stated, it would be very difficult for this town or any municipality in the province of Ontario to enter into any budget cutbacks that would be associated with this. So I'm sure that AMO has been talking about that, and I don't know if Mayor McGarvey has any further information about that. Thank you for the report.
So I will say that when I asked our CAO to have this report done, I knew that 4% actually became a much larger number in a larger picture over what we actually have control over. So AMO is very interested in this because Ms. Phillips has done some really, really good work with this, and they are impressed. And they would like to use this as a template possibly for other municipalities so that they can have a format to look at on how to calculate where they actually, what that percentage is for them. So thank you for all of the hard work, and I will let them know that council has seen this and certainly received the information, and that if they want to use it for a template, more power to them. Councillor Keith.
Yes, thank you, of course, Stephanie, for the very hard work. I really think that something like this should be on our town website, so anybody inquiring can see, we can clearly see what the town of Parry Sound is doing so far and what 4% would really mean.
Yeah, that is the next step, Councillor Keith. Once we approve it, then that's where it goes. So it is good public information. Ms. Phillips, you had something more you wanted to?
What I was going to say was that the challenge was an unofficial challenge that was for larger municipalities, so it doesn't directly apply for Parry Sound, but it definitely was an important exercise to understand how much we control and what something like that would mean for a municipality like this.
Yeah. Mr. Harris?
Just wanted to add a little compliment to staff for pulling this together, and also a comment that this report in some respects is generous in terms of saying what we have control over. Because even though a lot of those items in the control column, we hire the staff, a lot of the actual service delivery is based on provincial standards, minimum standards. So we just can't decide not to plow the roads. There's minimum maintenance standards and the sidewalks. We have to issue building permits within 10 days once a complete permit is submitted. So we have to comply with a lot of provincial regulations in those costs that we do have control over. So I think it's generous in the way we've done this. We've not tried to paint a bad picture. It's actually better for the province the way we've shown it.
One more thing I wanted to add was many of the characteristics of this analysis we'd like to incorporate into Questica as we improve the budgeting system so that we can understand what we do have control over and don't over time. So we hope to be able to use some of that data, some of the analytics maybe towards that.
As you said to me, it was a good budget exercise. Okay, any other comments, questions? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Okay. So moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Horn, that upon the recommendation of the 2019 Facade Improvement Review Committee, Council approves 97A Bow Street, Mauricio's Pizza in the amount of $10,750.50, 47 Gibson Street, Don Corbett, in the amount of $12,427.20, 69A Bow Street, Parry Sound Insurance in the amount of $562.50, 42 Gibson Street, Georgian Bay Software in the amount of $1,250, 19 James Street, Whitesquall in the amount of $1,525, and 67 James Street, Fad Architects in the amount of $9,570, and that the agreement letters be drafted and executed by the successful applicants. Any discussion? Councillor Horn, then Councillor Bachman.
Thank you. It's great to see the uptake on the facade program. I was wondering, Mr. Algie, if you could just explain to the public what the use of the funding is for and how it will be utilized, and also, is there any money left, and is it all gone? Thank you.
Certainly. Through you, Mr. Chair, the purpose of the program is to provide a 50-50 cost share between the town and a successful applicant on primary facades, which are the portions of a building that faces a road. Some buildings might have a secondary facade, which is if it's a corner lot and you can see the side of it, or just the right building. Sometimes you'll see a substantial portion of the side. Signage, landscaping, and heritage signs. There was some money left. We had just under $4,000 remaining, but just due to the number of applications we had and the ones that were remaining, there either wasn't enough to cover them, or they weren't eligible, or they didn't provide the impact that was desired in the committee's opinion. Is that all the questions?
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bachman?
I'd just like to thank you for taking the time this afternoon to speak to me about this and helping me better understand the facade program. Just one question I had regarding Gibson, 47 Gibson. It mentioned that an encroachment agreement might be required by Public Works, and again, I'm learning. So one of the questions I have, is there a chance that if an encroachment agreement was required by Public Works, is there a chance it would not be approved?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that is definitely a possibility. It was spoken of last week, and it's just for flower box. It's not significant encroachment, but if that portion, and an awning as well, if that portion wasn't approved for safety reasons or snow removal reasons or other public works reasons that take priority, that portion of the grant would likely then have to be rescinded.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? No? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, moved by Councillor Keith and second by Councillor Horn that bylaw number 2019-6940 being a bylaw to establish the maintenance, management, regulation, and control of Hillcrest Cemetery and Sylvan Acres be considered as read a first time. All in favor? It's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and second by Councillor Horn that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Horn that bylaw number 2019-6941 being a bylaw to declare the property surplus to the town's need and to identify a means of sale for town-owned property legally described as Harrison, location CL 16222, concession 2, part lots 24, 25, RP 42R 19262, part 1, RP 42R 19322, part 1, now located in the township of the Archipelago, be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Horn that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Discussion. Councillor McCann.
So for Mr. Thompson then, so in reading the background on this one here, transferring these surplus lands to the township of Archipelago, we don't need to go through a process where we put this out for tender or anything as such. This is sort of a simple, straightforward deal.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I did consult with our township solicitor, and he advised due to our property disposal bylaw, council has broad authority to determine best uses for land and to dispose of them in manners that suit each particular situation. So this is one of these situations where staff's recommending that a direct disposal to the Archipelago is in community's best interest, and that would be the course of action that's recommended.
Just to follow up then, so you see no use for this property then in the future?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the property was clearly acquired in the first place for an EMS base. Those plans did not pan out as expected. It was acquired over 10 years ago. The EMS base was more effectively situated in the village of Point of Barrow. At this point, it is a piece of land that serves no purpose to the town or the EMS system.
Okay, great, thanks.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Burden that bylaw number 2019-6942 being a bylaw to enter into an agreement for municipal bylaw enforcement on-call service and appoint Gary Calestra as municipal bylaw enforcement officer be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Burden, seconded by Councillor Keith that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Councillor Keith.
Yes, I'm just wondering, Chief Thompson, but roughly how many hours then a week would, if Gary's appointed tonight, would he be working?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the on-call bylaw officers really work very, very few hours. It's mainly a system that we have in place so that when there is that emergency after hours, when we have the regular bylaw enforcement officers are not available, we can utilize them. So on average, I would suspect that of the 3 officers that we have, none of them would work more than an hour a week.
Okay, anything further? Nope. All in favor then? And that's carried. Yep. Did good. So moved by Councillor McCann, seconded by Councillor Burden, that bylaw number 2019-6943, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, be considered as read a first time. All in favor? Now it's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Burden and seconded by Councillor McCann that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. All in favor? And that's carried. So, prior to adjourning, I'd like to offer the following information to the public regarding the next council meeting. The next regular meeting of council for the town of Parry Sound is scheduled for Tuesday, July 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. and will be held in the council chambers, top floor of 52 Sequin Street. Public access to the building is off Gibson Street. All regular council meetings are held at 7 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of each month, except January and August, where only one regular meeting is scheduled. Regular and special meetings are now live streamed. Please check news and public notices on our website at www.parrysound.ca for instructions to watch live or see earlier council meetings. Agendas, changes to the council meeting schedule, and notices of special council meetings will be posted on the town's website at www.parrysound.ca under news and public notices prior to a council meeting. The public is able to view an electronic copy of the complete agenda with attachments on the town's website. Just search council, calendar, and the date of the meeting. Should you wish to receive the combined agenda via email, you may make that request on our website or contact the clerk at the municipal office. The minutes of the council meetings will be posted within 2 days after the council meeting on the town's website and on the bulletin board located in the municipal office entrance. Your TV will continue to air the regular Parry Sound council meetings on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. following a regular council meeting. For Cogeco listings, contact www.yourtv.tv, and thank you everyone and have a great night.